You can either draw it there or here. Just draw there.
It's a girl. I thought it was a boy, so I got it all boys.
You bought it for us?
Bro, if you're not done with me, I'm into it. Start talking about the page. Let me see it then. I don't see it on paper.
Right. Okay.
It's birthday. Yeah. Okay, Starburst, bro.
Do you remember?
Hi, almost. You got 23, you only got 22. All right, questions on vanadium.
Nope.
Questions about vanadium. You should have 23 electrons, and there's 20, and then 3 for 3D. Any issues with that? All right, who said they wanted to do the next one?
Can you go back to the next one?
Uh-huh.
So that's the only one I got right now.
All right, so the electron configuration for arsenic. All right, go ahead, Amar.
What is arsenic?
Arsenic's 33. You can just click over with the arrow and go to the new page.
No, it is.
I'll be turning the tables
Only choices. I want to do that twice. What is arsenic?
Arsenic. AS.
Wait a minute. What are you doing?
Good electron configuration. So the orbital notation has arrows. The electron configuration does not. Hold on.
After 3D is 4P.
Yeah. Yep.
You said you're not going to give us a chart with the
Yep.
I was doing it as you did it.
Okay. Any questions about arsenic?
Is that a 4P?
Okay.
How do I do it? Go back. Arrow back. Back.
You're drawing the dot diagrams.
Can I do it on this?
Yeah.
Are you recording?
Just turn around. Questions.
Dang! I want to go back to
Let's go back to arsenic and draw it right there. You need the what? Okay. Good.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Now draw your dots. Yes.
Oh, it is about to do right.
All right.
Why did you record second?
I forgot. And then I realized it halfway through class. All right. So are we okay with arsenic?
Yes.
All right. So Zoe circled the outer shell. She drew the arrows. There, close the door. She circled the outer shell. She drew the arrows for 4S and for 4P. And then she drew the dots for 4S and for 4P. So are we okay with the dot diagram?
Yes.
All right, so for shorthand. I mean, takers for shorthand. Go ahead, Katie. All right, so we're drawing shorthand for ZR. If you want to hit the arrow and draw it on a new page.
Whoa, ZR.
ZR. Okay. Why do y'all always start on the right side of the page? Go to the left side of the page. And then you don't run out of space, though.
You don't gotta run out of space.
Okay.
It's 5.
Yes. The only thing you don't have to do is you don't have to put the comma there.
Why don't you think that run out of space? Okay.
You don't have to put the comma there. If you did, it's fine, but we typically don't. Questions about how to do shorthand?
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
We're going to work on it again today because we didn't do the bottom half of the periodic table.
I just don't know how to do it.
Now, these three, hopefully you can do because I don't plan to spend any time on these three today. If you need help with these three, I will be here today after school. Speaking of today after school, if you owe me any recent makeup work, you have to do it today or tomorrow. If you don't make up any missing work today or tomorrow for this quarter, it stays a 0. Does everybody understand that? Okay. The quiz we're taking tomorrow is your first grade on the 4th quarter. Okay. I'm closing out grades for this quarter today. That way, if you're absent tomorrow, it rolls to the new quarter. Okay. Because I will not be here after school on Wednesday. And of course, Thursday we get out at 12:30. So I assume I'll be stuck at staff meetings while y'all go home for break.
The quiz tomorrow will be
On 4th quarter.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And it'll be on this stuff.
It'll be on this stuff. You have a quiz Wednesday. It'll be on 4th quarter. All right. So we're good with orbitals. We're good with electrons. And we're good with dots. It's just shorthand we don't know how to do. All right.
Grades
Now.
comes out when? I'm sorry?
I do not know the answer to that question.
What are we gonna do in class on Thursday?
New stuff?
You really gonna make us learn on half day?
Yes, dear.
No, you're gonna make us learn when we got to go out to school for a week?
Yes, I am. You have the option of not being here. It'll be recorded on YouTube.
We have the option of not being here, but is it gonna count?
Of course it is.
So it's not.
Those people who are not here will be required to catch up on what they missed. Now, these numbers that I just wrote in, several people in second period said as well, do we have to know these numbers tomorrow? The answer is yes. I will give you a periodic table that looks just like this. Okay? That you can write on. It is not color-coded. It looks like the periodic table that's on your orange sheet of paper. The only difference is it's not orange. It's exactly right. Now, you can keep track of S block. This is D. This is P. And this is F. That's not hard for anybody to keep track of. You don't need to color code that to be able to do this on the test, okay? Or the quiz tomorrow. Everybody can keep track of that. You have to learn the numbers. That's not hard either. So when you think about it, the S block, what's the first sublevel that S could exist in? The S is the first sublevel, right? So it starts at letter or number 1. D, where's the first place you could have a D sublevel? S, P, D, right? S, P, D. It starts with a 3. Where's the first place you could have a F? S, P, D, F is a 4. So if you forget, use those things we learned for the quantum numbers. For the P sublevel, SP starts as a 2. You have to be able to put the numbering in tomorrow. If you put the numbering in wrong, you're going to get the wrong answers. Okay? Now, you can draw your numbered arrow chart tomorrow, but you have to draw it correctly to use it on the quiz. These are either right answers or wrong answers. I don't want anybody to start the new quarter with a 0. Okay? I'd rather they start with really good grades. So, zirconium. Where is zirconium? Right here. You need the what before zirconium?
Double gas.
Noble gas. So you go all the way to the end of the row and up one. So what noble gas is before ZR? So you write KR in brackets, and then you read the rest of the configuration. So at the end of the row, you go where? Back to the other side and drop down one row. What's the first number you see? So you write 5. What block is this? You write S. How many elements do you have? 1, 2. Put a 2 there. From there, what number is it? 4. What block is this? D. How many elements do you have? 1, 2. And you're done. Okay? That's all there is to shorthand notation. Does that make sense? Now, find your tables. We need to do homework, and we need to talk about how to read this bottom section. So, for homework, that should be pretty easy. All right? We'll talk about the part we didn't know how to do, and then we'll fix what we don't know how to do with shorthand. All right, what did I ask for the orbital notation so I can draw them real quick? And I. And I had what? 8? Yes. All right, so, and I should look like that. 3D should have 8 in it. All right, what was the electron configuration one? SC? All right, that should end on 3D1. All right, dot diagrams. K has 1 dot. And SB?
No, you only gave us 1 dot diagram.
Oh, just 1?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then shorthands are next?
SB.
All right, so questions on any of those 3? Because those are the first 6 questions on the quiz tomorrow. Are we okay with those 3 things? Do the dot? So 1S2, 2S2, 2P6, 3S2, 3P6, 4S1. What's the highest energy level? Remember, you're looking at these coefficients. What's the highest energy level? So the 4 is the highest energy level. Now, most people don't even draw the arrows there. How many electrons are in the highest energy level? Remember, you're not using any of this. That's the inner shell. We don't want any of it. You're only looking at 4S1. Okay? So 4S, get rid of that for a minute, has how many lines above it? How many arrows am I drawing? That means when I draw K, he gets how many dots? Okay? Most people don't even draw that. They can see S1 has 1 arrow, 1 dot. They don't even care about drawing it because it's only going to have 1 dot. Anything else about these 3? Are we okay with those 3? Because if we can't do those, we certainly can't do shorthand. All right. So, shorthand. If we go back and look at the numbering, are we okay with drawing the numbers in? All right. So, SB is here. What noble gas comes before SB? Okay. So, we're going to put KR in brackets. What comes after KR? 5S2. And then what? 4D. 10. And then what? 5P3. Questions about that?
Yeah, where'd you get the ones that's out the bracket?
Hmm?
Where'd you get the ones that's out the bracket?
You mean the one that's in the bracket?
No, out. I said out.
Like the one after it.
Yeah,
So KR is here. So then we go back over here and we read across the row. So 5, And then what's this block? So that's why I got 5s. And then 2 elements, so 5s2. And then what number? What block? And then I count. How many do I have? That's why I wrote 4D10. And then what number? What block is this? And how many do I have before I hit SB? That's why I wrote 5P3.
They just gotta start.
Just from after KR.
Yeah, that's not it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the KR represents, is everything up to the KR.
I thought you started.
No. So the other one was what? What's the other one I asked y'all to do? So if we do GA, all right, what noble gas comes before GA? So right, AR in brackets. What comes after the AR? All right, so 4S2. And then what? 3D10. And then what? 4P1. Questions? Yes or no? Fabulous. All right, find your periodic tables. Now, if you will look right here, there's a number that says 57 and 72. In someone's infinite wisdom, they decided the periodic table needed to be cut apart. So we have to read from where it's cut apart. Brooke, get off the phone, put it away, and pay attention. Now, at number, yes. At number 57, we have to read down to number 58. So where is number 58? Number 58 is down here at the bottom. So I'm just going to draw a little circle. I'm going to draw an arrow down here. Because when we get to the circle, we have to come down here to the bottom of the periodic table. The same thing happens when we get to number 89. Number 89 here jumps to number 104. We don't jump from 89 to 104 on the periodic table. So when we get to number 89, we have to come down here and go to number 90. So somebody thought it was a good idea when they got to those elements, because the table was just too wide. They cut the periodic table apart. They took those 2 sections and they put them at the bottom, and then they smushed the periodic table back together. Okay? So what that means for us is when we get to this element, we just have to follow this little arrow down and read there. So let's say that we're going to write the configuration for europium, which is this one I just colored in green. Now, this whole row sits where that green dot is. Europium has an atomic number of 63. Well, 63 sits between 57 and 72. Can we agree on that? Yeah. Okay. So if it sits where this green dot is, what's the noble gas before it? Same process. Cruise to the end and up 1. What noble gas is before europium? But we're still going to write Xe in brackets. What comes after Xe? We're still going to write 6s2. Nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is when I get here, what number do I see?
5.
What block? 5D. And I go how far before I hit this green dot? We write 5D1. And then we do what? We go down and we hit what? 4F. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4F6. Now, the arrow chart that we learned to read last week will not work on these 2 rows down here, because there's no place in that arrow chart that says only 5D1 and then go to 4F6. Okay, you actually read 4F first, and then it goes to 5D on the arrow chart. So you have to know how to read the periodic table to get questions that are at the bottom correct, because you know I'm going to ask you to do that on the quiz and the test. Now, let's say that I ask you to do one like tungsten. Here. What noble gas is in front of tungsten? Okay, where do I go from here to get tungsten? All the way to the end and what? So do we all agree it's XE? Yeah. What comes after XE? 6S, how many? Okay. 5, what block? And how many do I go across?
3, 4, 1.5. 1 point.
1. And then I hit what? 5D1 and I do what? I go down. What do I get after 5D1? 4F. Now, how many do I have at 4F? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Everybody agree with the people who yelled 14? You know?
So lost.
Guys, this is not hard. All we're doing is reading. I cannot figure out how to make myself smaller.
Yeah.
Sit someplace else. There are 2 chairs right there if you want to see. Okay? You choose to sit where I need to stand to write on this board. Okay? Now, if you're here and you read, my arms are only so long, genius. So, if you've got XE over there, you've got to read starting here. You've got 6S2, 5D how many until you hit this little green circle that I drew. 5D how many? 1 block. So we have to write 5D1 and then we go where? We go down. You have to do that every time. So you have 4F, how many to go across here? 14. When you get to the end, where do we go? Back to the little circle. Okay? Now, how many more 5Ds do we have to get to W? 1, 2, 3. So we have 5D, 3. Now, are we going to leave that written that way? No, we're not. What are we going to do with those 2 5Ds? You're going to add them up. So you're going to end up with XE, 6S2, 5D how many? 4, and 4F, 14. Because we don't leave them separate. They have to be combined. No, because we don't read something separate in the other ones. I mean, where else did we have to add something on the periodic table? We didn't have to add anything on the periodic table and anything else you've done to this point. That's why I said we'd have to finish this today and we couldn't do it on Friday. It's not hard. You're only adding. All right, so let's say that we have something like down here at the bottom. All right, let's say that we're, I don't know, borium. All right, named after Niels Bohr. All right, what noble gas is in front of Niels Bohr's element?
HS.
Who?
RN.
It has to be a noble gas. Where do we say the noble gases were? The noble gases have to come from this column.
Which one did you start with?
Guys, noble gases are here. We talked about this on Friday.
I'm asking
Okay.
which one did you just ask about?
Which one, what did I just ask about? We're going to do this element right here that's in green. BH. It's called borium. It's after Niels Bohr. All right, so which one of these noble gases is before borium? So we're going to write RN in brackets. Okay? All right, so where are we after we leave RN? Over here. Back over here, I heard 7S from the back.
Yep.
Okay, so we all agree with 7S?
Yeah.
How many do we have in 7S?
Wait, what?
We're not okay with 7S?
You go over? Oh, yeah.
So we're going across, right? 7S, how many?
2.
Okay, what number do I see next? 6 who?
6D.
D, and I go how far before I hit this triangle?
1.
6D1. The triangle says go where? Down, and we're at what? 5. And that's a what block? So 5F. And I need to get back up here to borium, right? So F has how many? When I get here, I'm going where? Back here. So I'm back in 6D. I have how many more 6Ds? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 4 more, and I already have 1, right? So I'm going to end up with 6D how many? I'm going to get rid of 1, and I'm going to write 5. You can skip it, and some people do. All right? The hazard in skipping it is that some people write 7S2, 6D, 5, and they never fix it. Okay? And the way you can check to make sure you're not wrong is add. So what number of electrons does Rn have? 86 plus. So that's what?
93.
Thank you. I was worried there for a minute. Okay, so we got 93 total electrons if we write this. Now look up borium, and borium has how many electrons up there? Has 107. So is 93 the right number if it's supposed to have 107?
No.
No. So hopefully that would be a way to say, oh, I forgot what? The F block. And then you could go back and say, oh, yeah. I forgot my 5F14 and fix your mistake. Some people won't figure that out, which is why I don't typically teach it. Skip it and write it in. Okay?
Are the elements going to be numbered?
Oh, yeah. It's identical to your orange periodic table. The only reason it's not numbered on that is because we need the space to color code stuff in a little bit. You'll see why shortly. All right, so let's say that I ask y'all to do a few. Oh, you don't have to. I'm an equal opportunity F giver, which unfortunately will happen more than I want tomorrow. But I can't fix that.
Is tomorrow or Wednesday?
Both.
Oh, what?
I thought you said we were having 1 this week.
You have 2 this week. You have 1 tomorrow. That is what?
On this.
And then 1 on Wednesday will involve what we take notes on today. All right, let's do osmium. Let's do europium. Let's do einsteinium and midernum. Let's do those 4. And then we're going to move on to more coloring. All right, let's try those 4. If you can do those.
Do you do the same if we're like not extra?
Yeah, you just start at 1S.
Can we number them on this one too?
No, it's started at 3:30. Okay.
So we number them.
Holy crap! I have a Gen Z meeting tomorrow. It's at 4 o'clock.
Wait.
Those of you who need to do makeup work, got to be done by 4 o'clock tomorrow. Dang.
This wall.
What? Yeah. I forgot all about that meeting.
Come on. We even check for our So our thing is
Mhm.
what do you know them that's videos?
Whole road. Just that dot. Then you guys in front of that dot.
That's eggs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What do you mean?
I can do that. No.
So hard for us.
And we will be posting grades before the break. Okay, and I can start posting grades on Thursday. Cool.
Wait, do you start from after the dot and then go?
So what now?
So I got this
I
car.
never don't forget this stuff.
So you go.
Now remember
You
when
start
seven
from here, like you count back here.
So if you already put 5v1,
You start from here.
that's 5v1 after the dot, yes.
What's the difference?
What? Devin stabbed me one time. It's like, I think I took some.
We had that tattoo thing. Like on like, it was like one of those ones they wash off. And
Or I think I'm supposed to count it.
Oh, yeah.
No,
No,
this
that
row
was Travis.
is
Got
that dot.
jacket 'cause he,
You would do it.
She said he
This
said-
thing that's running this dot. This row would be
What is
here.
that
This all. You
But
don't actually count.
It sounds bad.
count the element,
2, 3, 4.
you count the element you're naming, yes.
That's what I was today.
If you're not going to participate, you flop. Go put your head back down. You either participate
You
or
gotta add
don't.
back to the
Oh,
Where?
I think it's kind of.
Oh, you need to go back up front where you
Yeah,
can
I'll look.
That's loose.
see. Then move.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, what's the question?
I think actually had.
I'll move.
And, okay, that's what you're going back to there, who's the doll? It just popped in my head. Which
76.
That was-
one we doing?
Why was coming back?
I did.
5D.
No, since
Mom complained to Miss Wall.
Right.
Successful.
Just call from my mom.
5D.
Probably that he was back there.
One.
I do my work. I do better work this year.
Miss Wall called it doll. It's a running. He been sitting there since last
Virtual
night.
reality baby.
Might as well let him finish. One swing.
If I had my way, it's random if it was a doll.
It hasn't cried though.
The only reason.
Yeah, because it's all. Think of it. Right, so like crying.
No, it don't cry during the day. Mine didn't. Well, I didn't have mine.
What if
What's
you do
up,
a 6 8 right? And then they have it on.
You gonna have a 0. That don't be showing up on there. Like mine said it, I didn't birth it, or I didn't do it right. So I got so many points in I ain't care though.
I accidentally twisted his neck twice.
That's gonna show up.
I think that's
Smart should.
Jared twisted his neck as soon as I got it. I brought the extra. Yeah, because I went there. He grabbed
And here you
Sorry,
go.
that's all.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So instead of writing 5D5, add it together, you have how many?
Is that all you do?
Yes. You may have 6.
That's my dog. Miss Wallace, it's like, well, never mind, he got to say the.
What?
See, look at me being generous to him.
That was so much better than last week.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
Good one, tell me to go back.
And J. 1, 2, 3.
Start filling in the bag.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yes. Somebody left the calculator on the back table. What you got?
That's only the first, but I want to be wrong.
Which one we doing?
See?
It's worth doing it. Fix this.
Oh, I mean,
OS.
I said AC.
Yes, that's correct.
That's how you do?
Yeah.
That felt short.
It is short, that's why it's called shorthand. I mean, that's the
I meant
idea.
like, but
I know, but that's the idea behind it, is to cut down the
what
words.
is it shorthanded? It's shorthand. Something else we done, or it's just shorthand, like it's on.
It's an electron configuration, but the idea is to take the electron configuration and cut it way down. Instead of writing it all from 1S, but to shorten it way down. Who else has a question?
EU. That's my dog.
No, that was right, so just do it with 1, check
That one's
his.
hard. I'm only doing like
S
2
is at the bottom, so as long as you kind of the 5F right in this. So you know,
How is it right?
You weren't supposed to do all that adding up, so she done confused you.
So as long as you
That's
can
if you
override all those.
shortcut it.
That's right.
And you go back and do it.
All right, can we look at some of them?
Yes, miss.
Oh, right.
Did you actually do any of them?
One.
Yeah, let's do it, let's check them, yeah, I did one. way to participate.
So where you? You start from where is? Orange. Where's E? It's in the yellow one, the first. Yeah, mine's on orange.
I don't get it.
All right, so if we have OS, what noble gas is before OS? XE. All right, what comes after XE? 6S. 6S, how many? 2. And then what comes after it? 5D, how many? 1. After we do 5D1, where's the dot send us? Down here, right? 4F, how many do we have? For OS? 14. At the end, we go back up and we're back here at 5D. And we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not going to write 5D5. We're going to take 1 and 5 and make it what?
6.
Okay, that's osmium. Questions about that one? Okay. For europium. Europium is here for those people who are going, I didn't do it because I don't get it. Okay? This whole row right here is that dot. So what noble gas is in front of that dot if this whole row is that dot? So you're putting XE in brackets. Okay? So what comes after the XE?
6S.
So we write 6S, how many?
2.
2. What comes after that? 5D, how many? 1. After 5D1, we go where? 4F, hold on with the 14. We're doing this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and we stop there. That's it. Whoops.
So if it was HF, we go through that long process still?
Yeah. All right, so ES. All right, ES is way down here at the bottom. Right there. Okay, so this time, this whole row is the what? It's the triangle. So what noble gas is before the triangle? So we're writing RN. What comes after the RN? 7S2. What next? 6D, how many? 1. We hit the triangle. Where's the triangle send us? Way down to the bottom. What's that bottom? 5F, how many?
10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I agree. 5F10. Okay. All right. I don't stop moving that table. All right. There we go. So the last one, MT is here. All right. What noble gas is before that one? The RN. Okay. Now, RN, what's next? 7S2. 6D1. Where do I go from 6D1? 5F. Whoops, I forgot the 5. 5F. And this time we're going all the way across because I need to get back here, right? So 5F14. And then I'm back here at the 6, right? So 6D. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, am I going to write 6D6 and 6D1 up there? No, I'm going to do what with it? I'm going to add it and make it 6D7. Questions? Does that make sense? Those of you who are lost, does that help?
Yeah, I got you.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Brooke, come here, since you're only counting money, not actually working. Give everybody a paper.
Is your picture roughly?
Yeah, right.
Really?
I was gonna say,
They would blow, bro.
say what?
and below Oak. I think they lost to Oak Grove, but like they didn't do the stats, so that doesn't look that good. They was embarrassed to put in the stats.
Whoa.
They don't even have that roster of. Yes.
All right, we're going to color code the periodic table.
We already did.
Nope. This is going to be by group name. Don't color so dark that you can't add in other symbols, because we're going to add in other symbols to the periodic table. Thank you, ma'am. Now, before you get up to get colored pencils, let me give you a head start so that you know what you're doing. Now, you're going to need 11 different colors. You do not have to have them all match me, first of all. You can share with someone beside you. Do not have to have all the same colors that your neighbor has. You can shade in different colors. Just don't wind up with something so dark that you cannot write in and put in symbols, because we're going to need letters and shapes. Everybody got me? Okay. Am I writing neat enough that you can read? Because this is very difficult for me to write small enough and neat enough that you can read. My handwriting is just not that neat. All right. Now, there's 5 of the colors, and each of these 6 that are remaining have names also. Now, when I get over there, everything has one name except group 16. The oxygen family has 2 names. Before you ask me 800 times, yes, you have to write down both names. Yes, you have to know both names. We clear on that? There are colored pencils there. Please put them back in the right container. If you get pencils from over there and they fit in there, by all means, they can go back in there. Okay? 11. And you do not get the rest of the class period to color, because we have to include other stuff. Because you don't.
We're playing Flickers here.
If we have time.
Like, it's on whack, bro. Hate Flickers. Is it live?
You got how many blues you got? Is this?
Pull, pull.
Ready?
Man, there's not even 11 colors.
Ray?
Right, I'm just going.
1, 2, 3. There's 8 colors.
That's supposed to be purple.
No, it's not.
Just pick some colors. Don't take all of your time doing that.
Another dark.
Alright. You get 3 shades of green.
Look, there's 4 greens in one.
Get all shapes right here.
Oh, it's a brown here? Oh. Ooh. Dang it. Diego, why are you dropping all these pins?
What's up?
The purple one?
Oh, here. I got purple. I got that navy blue. 3, 6.
I got 12. She said on 11. 11?
Yep.
Okay, that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man, that's about good.
Who's going to do your
Two. Yes.
Right.
That would travel.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Stop and get.
Big
Stop and move. Stop behaving like a bunch of morons. Your what? Your what, bro?
Let's say your blood pressure.
Because y'all are black.
That's where it's at.
Here, let's go.
It's not that deep.
Yo, are you bored? Get your stuff and go. And participate.
I need oil back.
Come on, that's what she's talking to you.
Maybe it's in the water.
If I just want stuff
Money for She goes this weekend. I was just Baby's dad. I don't understand how you eat it. He grabs me. You gotta hold it like right. He's like, "Is it tall?" I'm like, he's like trying to talk to me. He was sitting on the couch and it was like, and he's like, and he looked at me and so cute. This one is
What's broke?
and her mom, she was like, "Hey, baby." Right, she fed it. So.
Get sharp.
She fed
Get sharp enough.
Yeah, she was sexy.
No, it's not.
It need to be like this. You got another one. This one already going. She goes to the Philippines.
I'm not there.
Did you say who her mom?
Yes, you did. I was ignoring it.
Could you?
It's her name, Christina.
Shut up. You got to be on this side of the room.
Okay, and when I get on that side of the room, that's when you can ask me questions.
No.
Short of dumping it out, there's not a whole lot I can do for you.
What else?
Dang.
That's yesterday, there's a piece of, stuck in there, but beyond that, I can't help you.
I think so.
Obviously, the FI.
I bet you ice is so deep, right? Bro, I think I walked past ISS. So, visit Miss Bourne. Right, that is my best friend. Yeah, probably. And you know my name? Like that.
Kind of the bright side, no replacement policy, they'll replace it for free.
Yeah. I remember. I made a flip around for you. You better think.
It could be overheated at night too, so just say,
Yes, you did. She don't have one.
no surprise.
Yeah, she goes, my
Fabian. Probably yelled at me.
Yeah.
Oh, you tell me to support.
Am I coming what?
Support.
No, you don't even do your work in my. Why
You
would
have
I
to
do
support her, Angel.
alkaline.
It's not working, it's notes, and I take my notes in my head.
Wow. I could tell that when you had your head laid down.
Yeah, I was listening.
Not supposed to.
Mhm.
What you being a single mother. What is
My
that?
being a single mother is hard. She woke me up at 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
I don't care.
That's that Oracle.
You take one home,
What
this one,
what
I'm
is
gonna
that?
give it for him to give you one.
You
You had
forget,
two real
I have 2 real kids. Been there, done that. They missed very few days while they were that age. And I was fortunate when they only woke me up twice.
I just saw her that.
Girl bar.
This.
I don't like spaghetti, and my parents continue to make it. And I just eat cheese.
What are you gonna do about
It'd be nice to have a parent that would take on the grill more. Basketball.
These colors too
I like the real ball. It make it look better though. Oh my goodness.
That's like allergy. Girl.
No, my mom, I'm back. She's wearing the most. So she said, I'm the Victoria Delay. It costs like $22.
My name is Zoe Roswell. Joey.
That's not her hours of work. It's like 2 hours.
I'm not.
Chill.
What's that?
It's a receipt with a box, so I can take back. Come back for what?
Come on.
For what?
For the donkey shark.
Oh. got a warranty.
I did.
Well,
That's
4 years.
why I told you to sharpen your color pencil book.
What did they say the warranty didn't?
They told me it was good for 3 years.
What? Yes.
We have like one pretty good.
I just don't.
Mixed colors.
Dang, she was ready.
Right.
Everyone be like the last minute.
Most of them go bad in a year or two.
Right.
When you get the lower, do you get a period of warranty on that?
I'm not buying a warranty on it. This is what he said.
I remember, I got a 92, I got a 93. No, I'm not 95, I had 95. She did the project in 1992.
Oh my God, at 92.
Oh my God.
I'm alright.
What?
Have you ever had this paragraph today?
Yeah, I don't know. This building is in Colony.
She had a loss in her family this week.
You been interested?
Yeah. I don't know, this helper told us that.
She was asking like,
Right.
Well, she actually did tell us how to look at Mr. Foster, so he got over
Oh yeah, she said she didn't even mean to.
Yeah.
She said, no, she said like she for doing the fine Mr. Foster. Like she told him how to do background checks, like she didn't tell him. I bet it's the wall. The background checks, that's what they did to me.
Go ahead.
This ball got
Right. That was gonna say you're drunk.
I couldn't have him confused.
That was social distance. That's what I'm saying.
I was trying to do this year.
Wait, Miss Ball, what does that say with the oxygen family?
Right.
Chalcogen.
She cool though.
She okay. She was annoying.
But she be telling us the whole story. She be taking out class.
Are y'all doing amplify? I hated that.
I did that in the car.
Amara, you should have
Me and
to
John
stop what
put
she
away,
did.
like, skip on the video. We skip all the video. I got not everything.
I'm 94.
I bet
I
you
did
do.
93.
You put my color pencil.
Nope.
What's all the class?
I got you. I'll come back.
Yeah. I got 99 in this, middle class.
And just use the one, man.
It's easy.
You guys just made a trust
Who's drunk?
My bad.
As far as.
How are we coming? Are we almost done coloring? Hurry up.
They leave on Wednesday, so they're not gonna be here Thursday.
They flying or driving?
Do you? Not that far. Well, the bus is still tomorrow.
All right, who's still coloring now?
But I don't feel like it's worth it.
All right, I give you about 2 minutes to finish, and then we're moving on.
Had the school pay.
They're driving overnight.
Huh?
They're driving overnight.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose, duh. So we should go on a chemistry field trip.
Not happening.
Why?
Let's go to the essence place.
Right. It's gonna make bombs. In Charlotte. I forgot what it's called. What is it?
Does everybody have the names?
Yes.
Because if you don't have the names, this is pointless. Okay, it's not about coloring, it's about learning the names for the groups. Now, the bottom two have a collective name. These two are referred to together as the inner transition metals. All right, these two come out of the middle of the transitions. Remember, these two were cut out of that section, and so they're referred to as the inner transition metals. Okay, does that make sense? So a lot of the properties that the transition metals have, these two also have. So they're referred to as the inner transition metals.
Yes, well, you know when people think of chemistry, they think about putting stuff together. Are we gonna do that?
Some, but very little. All right, everybody caught up? Okay. Now, we need to talk about group numbers and period numbers. Periods. Periods run which direction?
Right to left, left to right.
Okay, the horizontal.
Left to right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the numbers. Now, I caution you, the numbers that we put in Friday, do not write this on your table. Did everybody hear me say it? Do not write this. That 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5 stuff that we just wrote down Friday. What are these numbers called from Friday's periodic table? Those are letters, SPDF. Those are energy levels, okay? So these 3, 4, 5, and 4, 5 are energy levels, often confused with period numbers, okay? So on the test after Easter, when I say what period is something in, the energy level number will also be there. So don't get confused by that. These are the period numbers. So what period numbers go here? Okay. Why are 6 and 7 going to go here? Remember, they were cut out, remember? So, no, I had a circle there. Remember that circle I had that I drew here a minute ago? Where it was cut out? So this is period 6, and this is period 7. Because this row went here, and this row went there. Does that make sense? Yes, no? Okay. Now, group numbers, what way do groups run? Up and down. All right, they're vertical columns. Some of you may have learned that they're called families in the middle school if you had a real teacher, okay? If you didn't have a real teacher, you probably never heard them called that, but they're often called families. So, these are numbered 1 through 18. So, if I say, what's the name of group 18 on the quiz Wednesday, you tell me the name of group 18 is what? The noble gases. If I say, what's the name of group 2, you tell me the name of group 2 is what? The alkaline earth metals. Now, if you tell me the alkali earth metals, am I taking it?
No.
No. Okay? It's not a spelling error. It's wrong. It's the alkaline earth metals. It's not the alkali earth. It's the alkaline earth. Just as a preemptive strike before we hear electrons and elections, and I'm being difficult with spelling. It's the wrong answer. Okay? Diego, what was your question? Okay. So, if I give you germanium and I ask for the period in the group, what's the group number? 14. What's the period number? 4. Now, down here in the lanthanide and the actinides, do these have group numbers? No. Okay, these do not have group numbers. Whoops. They only have period numbers. They're in period 6, period 7. They have no group numbers. Okay, only the top half of the periodic table has a group number. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Now, we need to start labeling the parts of the periodic table in terms of states and types of elements. So, take something that's dark so that you can color in the staircase. Now, when we colored in the staircase earlier this semester, we used it to tell the types of elements on the periodic table. Does anybody remember what the types of elements were? We used it to determine if they were covalent or ionic, what types of metals and nonmetals. Does anybody remember the third kind of element that we didn't use at that time? I heard it. Metalloids. Okay. Who sits on the staircase? Anybody remember which one was on the staircase? Nope, not the nonmetals. The metalloids. Okay. So I'm going to use a triangle to show the metalloids. Now, some periodic tables disagree over what the metalloids are. I'm just going to decide which ones we're going to use. Now, I will warn you, for the metalloids, it won't matter the size of the symbol. When we do the non-metals, do not make the non-metals fill the whole block because you're going to need to come back and put states in. So the metalloids, these are not the best looking triangles, I know. You're sort of flat and ugly, but the top 5 elements on the staircase are metalloids, and the bottom 2. The 2 elements we seem to disagree on are polonium and astatine. Some periodic tables label polonium as a metalloid, and some do not. The non-metals. If you remember where the non-metals are. Okay. Now, where are the non-metals?
On the other side of it.
The other side. What's the other side?
To the right.
To the right. All right. So, the non-metals are to the right. So, notice that I'm not drawing my non-metal dots really, really large because I need to be able to come back and put some symbols in for states. So, I'm leaving space for the states.
Would you put one for hydrogen too?
I'm going to. I was going to ask, what's the non-metal that's in the wrong spot? But Diego has already said that hydrogen is our exception. So way over here on the right, I'm going to put a little orange dot and hydrogen spot for its non-metal. Now, at this point, that means everything else on the periodic table is what?
Metal.
That's correct. Now, I am not going to put a symbol in for the metals. Okay? Everything else is a metal. If it's not labeled, it's a metal. So you can see the vast majority of the periodic table is what?
A metal.
It's a metal. Now, you also need to know the states of everything on the periodic table. Solids, liquids, gases. Now, before you all go, that is too much. There are exactly 2 liquids on the periodic table. There are 11 gases. So, what are the 2 liquids on the periodic table? A lot of people know at least one of them. Mercury is one of them. And most people know it because they usually are like Brooke and they tell me how they played with it in middle school. Okay? So, the other one is a halogen.
What's a halogen?
What'd you just label on your table?
Liquid.
What group is the halogens?
Oh.
Ah.
It's chlorine.
Nope, chlorine is not a liquid.
It's fluoride.
Nope,
Uranium.
it's bromine. Bromine is a brown liquid. Okay, those are your 2 liquids on the periodic table. Now, gases. There are 11 gases. And before you all go, oh my God, I can't remember 11 gases. 6 of them should slap you.
Okay.
All right, y'all are just like second period when you start oxygen, all that stuff. Look at the names of the groups we just wrote down.
The noble gases.
Okay, there's 6 of them right there. Did you hear what Luke said? The noble gases. Where are the noble gases?
Gases.
On the right.
Do y'all ever listen to a question?
No.
Where are the noble gases? And y'all yell, gases? That is not what I asked. Group 18. Okay? So, all 6 of these right here are gases. There are 6 of your 11. Of the remaining 5, y'all know 3 because you have been in a science class since kindergarten. Now, granted, elementary school teachers are not science majors, but they know some things. They have reinforced these things. You have been in a science class since then. Okay? So what 3 gases should everybody know are gases? Hydrogen and nitrogen. There's 2 of them. Okay? Let me put hydrogen, nitrogen. What else did you say? Oxygen. All right, I heard chlorine. Carbon. Y'all drive me crazy with that. Second period did the same thing. How many of y'all are writing with pencils?
This is carbon. This is not lead.
It's carbon. Carbon and graphite are the same thing. We just call it graphite, but it's still carbon. So it's not a gas. Okay? So carbon is not a gas. Remember, it's a pencil, so you don't pick carbon as a gas. So who's my last gas? Fluorine. Okay? And they're right there in like an inverted L. Okay? Those are your 4 gases over there, and then hydrogen's over here by itself. So you got 6 that are noble gases. You have these 4, and then H is your 5th one. Okay? Those are your 11 gases. It's not like there's some random 11 scattered all over the periodic table to remember. They're all grouped together. So everybody else on the periodic table is a what? It's a metal and it's a solid. Okay? They're not hard to keep straight. Everybody got them? Yeah. Okay. You sure? Yeah. All right. So the last thing we're going to do that we need to label, and if it's getting really cluttered, use your periodic table from Friday if it's getting to be too much, is outer shell electrons and oxidation numbers.
What are oxidation numbers again?
We used them to write the formulas of compounds. Now, most of you seem to think that I have all this information memorized about the periodic table. I don't. I have patterns memorized. For example, you could ask me to draw the dot diagram for any element on the periodic table, and I could draw it. It's not because I have the electron configuration memorized. It's because I have this pattern memorized. Okay? How many outer shell electrons does group 1 have? It has 1 electron. Now, what tells the dot diagram? Dot diagrams are what? What do we draw when we draw a dot diagram? What electrons? We draw a dot diagram. We're drawing outer shell electrons. All right? These are what we draw when we draw a dot diagram. We're drawing outer shell electrons. Okay? So, if I know that every element in group 1 has 1 electron, what do I know about the dot diagram? Exactly. Do I have to know how to draw the electron configuration? I don't have to draw it to be able to check your papers to know if you drew the dot diagram right. If that element's in group 1, it has how many dots? And then I have the answer. All right, everybody in group 2 has 2. Everybody that's in a transition element has 2. Now, what does that tell you about the inner transition metals down here at the bottom? They have 2. Group 13 has 3. Group 14 has 4. 15 is 5. 16 is 6. 17 is 7. And 18 is 8.
But what on the bottom ones have 2?
Because they're inner transition elements. They came out of the transition. Everybody in the transition had how many? 2. So if they came out of the transitions, they have how many? 2. So if you told me to draw the configuration for oxygen, oxygen has to have how many dots in its dot symbol? I heard 2 little tiny voices out there.
6.
It has to have 6. If I said draw argon on the test, argon has to have how many? It has to have 8 because it's in group 18. Okay?
What's the bottom?
These 2 came from here, so they have how many?
2.
2. Everybody with me? Yes, no? Okay. I'm getting ready to erase. Everybody have it? All right. Now, in case you forgot, I told you could not have your oxidation sheet past day 60. Now, we've lost 2 days because we're not making them up. So even though it's day 41, in terms of the semester, it's more like day 43. Okay? So, oxidation numbers. You've got to have a way to find these things because you can't have your oxidation sheet on the exam. So, no. Everybody in group 1 has an oxidation number of +1. Everybody in group 2 has an oxidation number of +2. The oxidation numbers of the transition metals vary. Except zinc, which is +2, and silver, which is +1. Hey, Mr. Al, what can we do for you?
How you doing, Ms. Wall?
I'm fine. How are you?
What's up, Moore? Who is your chair in science?
Louis,
Oh, okay. Since I'm here, I'll give it to you.
what you got?
I went to a conference Friday.
Mhm.
And this is the new thing for North Carolina Encyclopedia. It's free. And if you guys got into encyclopedia stuff, could you pass that on to your department?
Sure, be glad to.
So it's a free site and you can use it for papers and all kinds of stuff. But
Okay,
there's no copyright.
okay. All right. All right. Zinc is +2. Silver is +1. Okay, and I wrote them both there in case you couldn't see what they are there. Okay, but the rest of them vary. So when we were doing naming, most of the elements that had to have a Roman number came from the transition elements. Okay, group 13 has a +3. 14 is ±4. Then we start down, -3, -2, -1, and then 0. The bottom are part of the transition elements. So what do you know about their oxidation numbers? They're going to vary. So I have to tell you as part of the formula, or I have to give it a Roman number. Okay? So if, for example, iron can be +2 or +3. I'd have to specify. But zinc is always going to be what? 2. Silver is always going to be. So those two you have to learn. Questions? Questions?
No.
No?
You remember all of this?
Huh?
You never remember?
By Wednesday. Questions?
Uh,
No?
Never studied.
Anybody?
You gotta remember.
You got to remember all that. By Wednesday.
Like,
Yes, Wednesday. All right. Let me see here. Third period. All right, grab your flicker card. Up here on the table. Get rid of this.
You get later number.
Wait, we have to discuss together.
What's your
Finish out the day.
What?
I
don't know what number it is.
Right.
I don't need to know what number I am.
It's our laptop number?
Mm-mm.
Oh, never mind. What is it?
I'm pulling it up.
Bro, I call shot.
Y'all, follow my YouTube channel is
Okay.
Brooke Hemright. And we have our guest star Luke on there this week.
Oh, it is laptop
You
number.
already know Mountain Dew's the best.
Some will be.
You already know, man. And where's my plicker? You already know, man. We talk about chemistry and how we could be better and do better on my channel.
First of all, someone took my plicker.
So go and follow it. You already know, man. Go to ncpedia.com. You already know they got the setup.
Promo, hashtag ad, hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag. Oh, y'all, I'm number 10, by the way. You already know, man. If I get all these answers right.
Could you stop acting like an idiot? I know it's hard, but try. All right, nice easy one for you. Now, where we get everybody with the right answer. All right. First of all, you don't have any homework tonight. Okay? Your homework is to do what? Study for your quiz. You got a quiz tonight, or sorry, Tuesday. You got a quiz Wednesday. What's the quiz on tomorrow? I've said it like 400 times.
I said Wednesday.
Tuesday is 2 electrons, 2 orbitals, 2 short and 2 dots. Wednesday's quiz is on what we're doing right now and on that periodic table. Yes. 10 questions. You don't know what on. All right, we got it?
Whoa.
Wait, whoa,
Which one's the medal?
Whoa. I don't know. Oh, okay, this
It's
is.
not
Wait.
sodium. Oh, it is?
Would y'all stop telling him the answer? Just answer what you know. If he doesn't know it, he can look it up.
I did.
The whole idea is for y'all to do it for you. It's not a grade.
Yeah. We turned it up all the way.
I don't know where the medals are, so I'm asking you.
Now remember when got her iPad?
No, I got her a goldfish.
No, that was Katie that got the gold.
All right, we got 13 rights and 6 people got it wrong. Silicon is a transition element. Okay? All right, silicon. Shh, hush. Silicon is on the staircase. It's a metalloid. I had 2 people pick neon. Neon's a noble gas. That is not a metal.
I wonder who picked that, bro.
Don't know. I'm not looking at the moment. All right, this one's going to be hard to see most likely. All right, A you can read is the alkali metals. B is the carbon family. C is the halogens. D is the transition elements. All right, C is the halogens and D are the transition metals. If I shrink it, it just gets really teeny tiny for the next question.
Wait, say that again?
See that one?
C was the carbon family, or sorry, I took it down. I can't read it now.
Yeah.
He
said you ain't got it, you ain't got it.
If I get it wrong, just
And then you just get them
all our cards.
This is California.
all right, so we got 2 people who got it wrong. One picked the alkali metals. The alkali metals is group 1, which is the far left column, which is here. And the carbon family is here. All right. C was, what did I have for C? I can't even see. Was the halogens. So stop that. All right. Which of the following is a liquid? Which one of those is a liquid?
Ooh, I know this.
And I didn't put a ton of questions in here for us to review and try. But these are the kinds of questions you could expect to see on the quiz.
And we're not gonna have.
You're not going to have your periodic table. You're getting one that looks like the orange card. Your hand, These are all basics the state expects you to know.
Basics.
Yep. All right. We got one person to pick chlorine. Chlorine's a gas. Yeah, right. All right. 2 days is plenty. What's the name of group 2?
Wait, too small.
Wait, what?
What if I put 8? No, not for the Earth.
She's like, wait, what?
All right. So we got one person who picked the noble gases. Either you took no notes or you just clueless. All right.
Who is doing
If
this?
we don't put Earth, is it wrong?
If you don't put Earth, it's wrong. Yes.
So is it alkali Earth metals too?
If alkali earth metals is your answer, it's wrong also. Yes. It has to be alkaline earth metals.
I remember my question.
No.
What?
When you write alkali, Earth with
No. Alkali is just group 1.
I remember my question. What if you forget the E but put the N?
I guess it will depend on my mercy and whether I'm feeling like electrons and electrons are the same answer or not.
She's like, I'm the queen of the city.
Depends. All right. So, which of the following is a gas?
I know this.
Should be an easy one.
Is a gas.
Yep. Which of the following is a gas?
Let me use this so I can see how much.
I straightened it up some, Joanna. There you go.
I said different things.
I swear you touched the iPad.
Bro, I thought she got
I probably did both.
She had
That's
a
all.
yellow and she would sit on the car.
Mara, hold it up
She's
a
like,
little
my
higher.
dad got me this car.
Just unlike you.
And,
Bro, that car
and
was
those tickets
black.
fuck behind her there.
I got
That's
that.
pretty cool.
Your fingers in the way.
Right, she got so mad when I took her tissue.
Yep.
Like, girl. it's-
All right, so we got 4 people who got it wrong. Phosphorus is a what? It's a non-metal. It's over there on the far right. Calcium is a metal. The only one that's a gas is chlorine.
Right.
All right, last question. This should be a breeze. Even if you don't know how to read the table, you should know that one.
Oh. I know this. I don't.
Remember this in our group?
And some of these are physical science questions. You should know how to do this one if you don't know the answer. Read the table. We did this how many times? Writing names.
Oh, come back. Here we go, Mark.
She gave us like 9 seconds or something.
And I still have 6 people with the wrong answer.
No, sorry.
If you're in group 16, it's -2. So the +2s would have gotten the wrong answer as well as the +6. 6 is the electrons, the outer shell. +2 is the wrong sign. If you would be so kind as to make sure your pencils are put up, the cards are back on my desk, please.
Man, forget this flicker junk. You already know.
Sorry.
9 seconds is something.